In Work New Zealand. I'm Adrian Roberts of In Work New Zealand, and we provide contracted employment services to Work and Income. We've been providing that for about 9 years, dealt with nearly 15,000 clients of Work and Income over that time. And really the opportunity going forward is how to re-engage those that find themselves marginalised in the employment market back to work. So they break down into groups that might be ethnically grouped, like Māori Pacific Islands. You've also got your sole parents, you've got those that find themselves long-term unemployed, and then you find youth. We're also finding we've got growing problems with numeracy and literacy in this particular area as well. So finding an all-encapsulating solution where you've got some educational content provided that combines with an employment outcome which is sustained. Employment is one thing, sustainability is another. So you need to provide a support mechanism that brings it all back together again. You must start the loop and then complete the loop, and support will do that. Now you've got changes in the employment market, so you've got employers that can enter into trial periods. So that means that unless that person can transition very quickly and leave the baggage of unemployment behind, then those issues will manifest themselves in the workplace, and that trial runs into serious risk of being unsuccessful. So that is where a lot of the work that we do starts to become involved. So it's really a more broader employment concept, and that's really what's required at the moment, taking people forward. So if we take our youth that have found themselves in real trouble in the current employment environment, I'm very interested in finding exciting ways outside the norm to engage them in employment. So the traditional 9-to-5 job might not be there. So using a global online environment to provide employment mechanisms, the benefit for government is reducing benefit spend. You're not going to get sustainable work today, but you can reduce the dollars you're spending on welfare while empowering the young people to go forward, and wherever they go from there, once they experience the positive outcome of employment, the money that employment brings, and also just the ability to lift their head up and say, I'm actually doing something for a living. This would be very powerful. It would certainly be more powerful than something like a boot camp, because it's all about the outcome. It's all about the result. If you give them a result, the ability to leverage that result and go forward rather than look backwards. So the opportunity, I think, going forward is a mixture of engagement, placement and support.
And that engagement and support could happen in a virtual world?
Absolutely could, especially with our youth and indeed our grade clients as well, because they're becoming more online savvy, they're more technologically engaged. So if we can actually develop that, and in an earlier discussion there was talk about the fact that, look, while we're awake, our big markets offshore in the Northern Hemisphere are asleep, and we've got an opportunity to be delivering service in that particular space. The challenge comes in making the fee-for-service work when you're competing against, say, the Indian subcontinent that are providing, say, a programming type resource. So we have to think outside the square, and indeed, if we're going to be providing that type of service and that type of opportunity, then we have to provide Europe, we have to provide the UK or the US with a service that is more aligned to the New Zealand abilities, the New Zealand psyche, the New Zealand ability to engage, client face, discuss, those sorts of things. What have we got that perhaps the Indian subcontinent does not have? If we just try and compete on price, we'll lose. So we have to compete on innovation, we have to compete on service, we have to compete on something else.
So a few things to input or to get your feedback on as I'm listening to you. One is we can rethink what employment means. I mean, employment could be sort of micro snacking, couldn't it, during the day? You could do half an hour here, half an hour there, an hour there.
Yes.
Also, if we think about employment and training, the two could happen simultaneously.
They could do.
We can
Even better facilitated in a virtual environment than in the traditional. We have a major problem in New Zealand with numeracy and literacy now. You know, and it is a problem that's not going to go away. It's going to get worse. The gap is going to widen.
Yep.
So if we can provide some sort of ability to close a gap.
And you were also mentioning earlier in the conversation, in terms of the recessionary times, that there's a lot of people entering the unemployed force who actually are extremely capable, skilled, intelligent.
And this is a key issue. While you've got people that are coming into the unemployment benefits that do have better skills, they're better skilled at what they were doing. They're not, however, skilled at preparing for work and finding new work. So the risk they run into is that if now their job opportunities have shrunk from, say, 10 to 5, and they apply for the first role and they're unsuccessful, not through their ability, but their ability to apply for a job. That's what they're unsuccessful at. If they have 2 failures, then they're moving down their list of ideal fit. And therefore now they have to manage their expectations, because the plum job has gone. They've missed that through their inability to secure employment and not do the job. And they're left with something where they have to compromise. And that can be very, very difficult. One of the hardest jobs to do is to manage expectation. And then if they miss the 3rd job, we've got the last 2. Then we're in an area which starts to get very difficult, where the individual says, but this is a job I was doing 2 years ago now, and now I'm going to be asked to do it again for less money. And then you walk into the triggers for long-term unemployment right there.
But these same people probably have quite a lot of social capital, and they're probably within their communities, may or may not.
Yes.
And they may also have quite a bit of intellectual capital, and perhaps if through an online system we could mix and match in a way that's not been possible in a traditional corporate environment where you've got kind of cubicles and confines, you know, rip away the walls, find new markets that are maybe for a weightless type delivery, could be worth looking at.
Absolutely. It's all. I believe it's all about finding new solutions to a very old problem. And a lot of traditional employment will always work. We're always going to get that 30-hour plus sustainable employment outcome. There are, and as the economy improves, then that will occur. That is a natural occurring economic cycle. But to find new opportunities for those that are presently marginalised within the employment market, and they might be youth or sole parents. You get a lot of wonderfully talented sole parents. It's just that their barriers prevent them from going into a 9-to-5 type operation. So it's simply a case of saying, how can we engage them in different employment in a different manner? And the virtual environment that we spoke of earlier is a fantastic opportunity to bring that together.
I think it really is, because what an extraordinary resource we have here that's actually just lying dormant, unactualized, unharnessed. And if we can find a new environment, and a virtual environment can I think provide that if it's thought through in a thoughtful way.
Some of our best successes through the last 10 years of working with this group, those best successes are those that have been in a situation where they can't find work. And it's not through the fact they don't want to. It's not through the fact that they might be unskilled. It is that they're not skilled in finding employment. And the more no's you get, the more your confidence takes a beating. So what we do is take that person and lift them and provide a mechanism by which they can re-engage. Once they've re-engaged, it's a support. And then once they've transitioned, then you've got sustainability. And that person is moving forward. The greatest buzz we get is when clients that were unemployed are coming back to us as managers and employers looking for more people. And that's a very exciting time, because then you know your process has worked absolutely. And you're providing someone new with that opportunity to go forward, and that happens a lot.
And that's not only good for them and the people they employ, but obviously for the country too.
That's right. Everybody gets a positive outcome from that.
Thank you very much.